go. Next video. Using notebook with Gridlines to play Golf Clash. So I have the Gridlines set up. I have the notebook installed here on the iPad, and let's go play a game. Show you how to adjust using notebook, how many rings to pull, Gridlines to make sure we're pulling in a straight line. And if we have any curl, we can use an approximate amount. So we're just going to play around here, practice rounds, so it doesn't matter. I'm going to use rookie so we get a little more time, and let's run it. So first thing that we do when the game comes on and it's our turn is we are going to input wind, speed, the wind direction, and what we believe the elevation to be. Elevation, wind, speed, direction. It might time out if that's open. Alright. So here we go. I've got it at 5% elevation right now. Alright, so it's not our turn, but if it was, I would go 3.4. I line the, and you can't do it, this is his turn, but it looks like the wind is going across. And then the elevation, I'd have to estimate the elevation. I believe it's probably 10%. And that would give me whatever club I'm using. If it's max sniper, for instance, I'd be at 4.4 if it's max sniper, 3.3 minimum, 3.9 if it was medium. But it's not our turn, so I'm going to reset and reset. Well, elevation I'm going to leave at 10%.
Great shot! Nice on!
Alright, so I've got the elevation at 10%. Our wind is 3.5. I'm going to line this up straight, and it looks like the wind's going across. Okay? Now, I got to figure out where I am on my club. Okay, I'm going to close that for a second. There's max. There's minimum. So I'm right about medium. Okay? I'm going to give it some backspin. Alright, go back over here. I'm at medium sniper, 3.5, which is 4 ring adjustment. 4 rings. Get off the screen. I don't like this thing. 4 rings. So I know there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we'll go over that in just a second.
Perfect shot.
I mean, it's not going to guarantee that you make it, by far. But you're going to get close. You'll be able to get closer. So not too shabby.
Nice on.
I'm going to end this match. Oh, missed it.
Birdie.
So I'm going to go play another match. I didn't realize that was a par 3. Go to the next hole. That's par 3. Let's go to this par 5. So as soon as the game starts again, I'm going to keep saying this. Wind speed, wind direction, elevation. That's the only 3 things you have to change because you've already got your ball set up at a 3. Now, if you end up changing your ball, you got to remember you got to change it not only in the Golf Clash game, you've got to change it on the Notebook app. And and that's up there at the top above the elevations. Alright, so I'm going to open this, reset my wind, reset my elevation. Alright, it's his turn. I'm going to close this just for a second. But if it was my turn, I'd be going 5.0 is the wind. The direction is coming across. It's kind of our phase 2, but I'm going to go like
Great
that.
shot!
And then looking at his elevation is downhill, so I'm going to guess it to be right around there. His elevation is going to be the same as ours. His wind will be the same as ours. So whatever the wind is, it's going to be the same. So I'm going to reset this. Here's our wind. We got 3.9. I have less wind because I have my ball. I got a different ball than he does. So lighting my shot now that shows. I'm still going to go across wind. Okay. Max APOC is 3.1, so I'm going to be pulling 3.1 rings. Okay, I'm going to close this out. 3.1. We got to remember that. All right, so my shot. I'm going to go ahead and give it some overpower. Can I get over that? And a little risque. But 3.9. Now we're going to turn that arrow so it's facing north. And then how many rings do we need? We needed 3.1 rings. There's 2. The yellow is 2. There's 3. 3.1. I'm going to pull 3.1. I'm going to give it some overpower. And
great shot!
Great. I should be okay. Should be able to get through that garbage. Boom. Nice. Okay. Now, when the ball gets done rolling, let's take a look at our next shot, see if we can figure out. So it's kind of hard to tell what we have, whether we're hitting uphill or downhill. Kind of hard to tell. I'm going to kind of just leave it at 10%. But we see the wind. The wind is blowing in that direction. So we can go ahead and set the wind. Okay, 0 mile an hour. I'm going to leave it at 10% because I just don't know. So now the only thing I have to enter once it's my turn is the wind mile an hour.
Great shot!
Hate to be ya. Alright, so I've got my elevation in already. I've got my wind direction in already. Now I just need to hit 2.5 miles an hour. Figure out what club I'm going to be using. It looks like... Alright, so there's max sniper. There's minimum sniper. Max. Minimum. I'm going to be right here. So it looks like we're medium sniper. Medium sniper, we can tell, is 2.8 rings. 2.8. Okay, we got to remember that. I'm going to give it some max top spin here. Okay, 2.8 rings, remember? I can blow this thing up. 2.8. There's 2. The yellow is 2 automatically. That's the easiest way to grab 2 rings. 2.8. Okay. Hold down. Make sure that arrow is facing north. Okay. And then take my shot. I'm going to give it some curl. Okay,
Perfect shot!
I gave no overpower, so I shouldn't have to worry about clipping that rough up front. Next shot, look at my elevation. I'm slightly downhill, so I might give it a -5 in the chart. -5. I'm -5. See this right here? I'm -5 hitting, but I went to, what did I say? Downhill, right? My bad. 5% downhill. Looked like we were downhill, okay? Now I'm going to reset my wind.
Perfect shot!
And get ready for my shot.
Eagle!
What a shot. Jeez. Alright, so the wind is blowing this direction at 3.9. Now I got to figure out what club I'm using. There's max rapier, okay? So max rapier, and if you use backspin, So max rapier is your wedge is 4.3. Okay. Do some backspin here. But I'm actually gonna go and do this. 4.3. Remember, we looked at the charts at 4.3. I think I'm going to miss just slightly here. One more time. It's alright. Oh, shoots, he made it. We don't even get to make that shot. Whale hail. Alright. Let's play another round. Go to another par 5. We'll play this one. Alright, so getting our notebook app ready. Wind, speed, wind direction, elevation. There's tournament guides out there that tell you the elevation of each hole. Videos you can watch. BK Golf Clash is who I watch. He does expert every tournament. That's the videos I watch to get my elevations on each hole. I can preset my elevations before I go in the hole. I already have my ball strength, my ball power set, my elevation set. Now all I need is my wind and direction. So I'm going to go ahead and open this. I'm going to reset this. Alright, so it looks like I get to go first. My wind direction is going this direction at 3.9 miles an hour. Typically, we're always going to be max. Alright, so I'm going to do max. So my max APOC is 3.4. Got my mile per hour set. It's pretty flat right here. So I'm going 3.4 rings. Close this out. Don't want to go too far here. Maybe right about there. When I say 3.4 rings, there's 2 automatically, there's 3, 3.4. Pull straight with that arrow facing north. No OP, maybe a little curl. Hit perfect
shot.
And that shot should land exactly where I thought it was going to land and should roll out where I wanted it to roll out. And it did. So there's that 3.4 that I repeated. That was my max APOC. 3.9 mile an hour winds with the wind blowing that direction at a 5% elevation. So I'm going to go ahead and reset. Reset using this button and reset. Usually I just leave that alone. I can move that as I go, but I'm going to reset the wind.
Great shot.
And wait for my turn here. Yeah, I prefer the Wind Assist app, the notebook app, on my tablet. I'm not going to use it on here. If you don't have a tablet, obviously you've got to use it on here, but to me, it's just kind of in the way. It's one extra step. So I look at this real quick to see what my elevation might be. Looks like it's 5%, so that's fine. The wind is going in this direction at 2.6 miles an hour, okay? So it looks like I'm going to use minimum. There's minimum grizzly. So it looks like I'm using a minimum grizzly. I'm going to do a rough bump right here. Minimum grizzly. My minimum grizzly is 2.3. Okay, so I'm going to do 2.3. Hopefully I got enough topspin here. 2.3 rings. Okay, get that arrow facing north. I know I've got 2 with that. Here's 2.3. And this time. Boom, hit perfect.
Perfect shot.
That might just go in. Get in the hole, baby. So I was just off. I didn't pull enough. And I felt it there in the leg.
Nice on.
But I didn't quite pull enough. But normally that would be in. Or elevation wasn't 5%. Elevation could have been 10%, because with more elevation, it would have been more pole. So most likely that it was probably 10% elevation there, and I only pulled a 5% elevation. So let's get out of here and we'll go to another match. Hopefully you're catching on now. I haven't chatted much about the arrow in the top corner. When you're making your pull, that arrow has to be facing north. And when I'm on my iPad, I'm making I'm lining it up with 2 fingers. And I'm keeping an eye on that arrow, because the arrow kind of moves a little bit, and I want to make sure when I actually make that final pull that the arrow is dead north. It's facing straight up when I make that pull, because if the arrow is crooked and you're pulling, you're not pulling where you're supposed to be. You're going across it, so your ball is actually going to land. Let's say the arrow is pointing, to the right, and you're pulling. Your ball's actually going to land to the left of where you thought it was going to be, because you're pulling sideways. You're not pulling straight back where it should be. All right, so the game's getting ready to come on. I'm gonna reset my wind over here. Now the wind, I'm gonna get my shot square. The wind's in my face at 3.6 miles an hour. It looks like maybe a 5% elevation, so I'm set. Let's figure out what club I'm going to use. This is a tough hole. All right, so I think we just got to lay up over here. Now, we don't want to go too far. So I'm at max APOC. Max APOC is 3.1, okay? So I'm going to pull 3.1 rings. But first, I want to get a little back. Well, yeah, just a little back spin, because I don't want to roll off. So even though we're at max here, and we said we're at 3.1 rings, I'm still going to pull it. Even though it's going to be at max, I'm still going to pull it, because that's going to line my shot up in the direction it's supposed to be. I won't get the distance shot, because it's at max already, but it will move my shot over to the right where it's supposed to be to account for the wind that's blowing left. All right, take a look. Our next shot look like it's 10% elevation. It's definitely downhill, and it's definitely not close to flat. So I'm going to go at least 10. It might be 15 even. But at least I've got the elevation in. I've reset my wind here to 0. I punched in the 10% downhill. We're still on ball power 3. We haven't messed with the slider at all. And now we'll wait for our wind. Wind speed, wind direction. That's all I got to plug in. Boom, boom. Take a look at, what club that we're going to be using. Make a mental note of how much wind. Normally I would try to make that shot right there, but all right. So now our wind. Get our shot straight. Now I know wind's in our face and to the right at 3.0. Okay. Now the club we're going to be using. Oh, I'm screwed. I think. Yeah, I think I got to lay up over here. So I'm at max sniper. Max sniper is 3.8. 3.8. Okay. So I'm going to give a little curl. Go in this little corner here. 3.8. Remember? 3.8. So I'm going to adjust 3.8. Now I'm not going to be able to go 3.8. So there's 2, 3.8. But it'll get me lined up where I'm supposed to be. And then hit perfect. Perfect's always perfect. Yep.
Great shot.
A little early, but I'll be all right. All right. Now take a look at our next shot. We'll show you the flag. What do we got? We're downhill for sure. At least 10. So I'm going to leave it at 10. I'm going to reset my wind, and I'm leaving the elevation downhill 10%. Okay. we should have went the route he went. He's only using a katana ball, so we could have made it with our kingmaker easily. That's alright. We dunk it on him here in a minute. It won't matter.
Perfect shot.
Hopefully you guys are picking up a lot from this, and I want to hear if you
Nice on.
when you win your first match, your first tournament. I mean, all right, let's catch the wind versus line up our shot. Okay, it looks like the wind is kind of across, kind of in our face, but I'm just gonna go across at 3.3. Okay, figure out what club we're gonna use. Hornet. You gotta figure out where you are in your club. So there's max Hornet. Minimum Hornet way back there. So we're just above max Hornet. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to do a rough bump. Short iron. My short iron max was 3.8. So I'm not all the way to max. So I'm going to go 3.5. 3.4. I'm just guessing here. 3.4. Run out of time. Top spin. 3.4. 3.4, gotta hurry, take the shot, line up, even.
Great shot.
Shit. Shoot. So close. Hit that perfect, and we're in the hole. Alright, let's go to another one here. Reinforce that. Alright, so hopefully you're going to have a lot more time than I am. I keep running out of time because I'm talking and demonstrating, but you've got plenty of time. Entering the wind only takes, less than 2 seconds to enter the wind. So you've got all that time to set up your shot. Let's do another one here. Let's go on a par 5 again. Yeah, we'll go this par 4. So while it's looking for a player, I'm going to reset my wind. My elevation's at 10 right now, but we'll take a look when the hole comes on. We'll take a look to see what the elevation looks like. 5 or 10 downhill usually. That's always what it is on these par 4s and 5s. Rarely is it anything different than that. Tick-tock, let's go. Alright, I'm going to open this up, get ready for the wind. So first thing I do is I'm up first. I'm going to line my cursor or my shot line straight north or straight up and down with the grid line to figure out where my wind is. It's going across at 2.4. Elevation looks like it's only 5%, so I'm going to change my elevation to 5%. I am max APOC. Max APOC is 2.0. 2.0 is all. That's all we've got to pull. Now I'm going to line it up. Is that the route we're going? I believe so. I'm going to do some backspin here so I don't roll off because we've got the wind at our tail too. And we're going to adjust easily with the yellow ring. That's 2 right away. Okay, and this hit perfect.
Perfect shot.
Shouldn't have a problem there. Look at our next shot. We're downhill. Doesn't look like a lot. Probably 5%. If you have the tournament guides, obviously you'll know. And I'm gonna talk to BK Golf Clash Ben and see if he'll allow me to get the sheets to you. I'm a member of his Patreon group. But I don't know if I can share them with you guys. I'll find out. Alright, so I got my elevation at 5%. Actually, I think it's about 10. That's a little bit downhill. Line up my shot with the grid line straight up and down. Wind is going across to the right at 1.9 miles an hour. Now, what club am I going to use? We're on Sniper. There's max. There's minimum right there. We are definitely minimum. I'm gonna go for rough bump again. I like the rough bump. Always put yellow right here. Do some top spin. So minimum sniper 1.8. I gotta pull 1.8. And you can go anywhere on here to get to 1.8. So I'm using the blue, the full blue. That's 1, and I'm gonna go 0.8 into the red. Take my shot. Hurry up, buddy.
Perfect shot.
Ooh, came in hot. Yeah. So I pulled too
Nice
much.
on.
So it may have been 5%. May have been 5%. But see, you're not going to make every time. Just because you're doing this, you're not going to make every shot. But you're going to be close. You know what I mean? And actually, with the wind going from left to right, I should have moved my initial landing point more left, because the wind is going to push it right. So anyway, we're on the green now. I'm going to close this out. So what I'm going to go over on this probably last one here is I want to go over curl shots. How to, because we're using the grid line here for the curl, you got to go a big far right hand curl. How do you make sure you're not into overpower? And using the grid line will help you estimate that you're not into overpower, because some of them you just can't. You need to land where you think you're going to land. TikTok, let's go. Alright, so let's get my wind ready. I reset that. So if this was our turn, we go 3.2, and it looks like the wind is slightly going right. I know this is 5%, so there's our shot right there. 2.8 would be our adjustment on APOC.
Perfect shot.
And I reset the wind. Well, we know the direction's the same, but I can start, the direction if I wanted. Alright, so on this shot, I'm gonna make a curl shot here. This isn't how I normally would play the hole, but alright, so I line this up straight up first. I see that the wind's going across at 3.6 miles an hour. Elevation looks like it's 5%. Alright, so I've got a 3.1 pull on my APOC that I need to pull, but we're going to do a curl shot here. It's not going to make any sense of why we're doing it, but we're going to do it. So I'm going to give a little left. Okay, 3.6, what did we say we were? 3.1? Yep, 3.1. Adjust 3.1, 2, 3, 3.1. Okay, now I'm going to give curl. Your ball alignment, if you look at the, I'm going to let time expire, and we can do it here in a second. You're going to want to notice the distance between the top of your ball and that grid line going across. It's about 1/4 of an inch. So when you swing that ball far right, you want to maintain that distance that you started at, and that'll give you some comfort that you have not pulled into overpower by accident. Because without that grid line there, man, you're just totally guessing. You have no reference point on that curl, whether or not you're in overpower or not.
Perfect shot.
do a curl here. I'm not even going to line up where we're going. We're just going to do a curl. All right. This disconnected. What are we talking about here? All right. This would be our normal shot, just touching, just a little bit in. Look at the distance I have, about 1/4 of an inch. So when I swing it over here, you want to try to keep that 1/4 of an inch. You can kind of hear it of when it's going to break, when it starts getting overpower.
Great shot.
But that's kind of how you do it. Just look at where you started, the pull, the distance, and when you crank it all the way to the right, the distance, the same distance. You can use that grid. I think, let's go over one more thing. The difference between your minimum pull, your minimum distance to your club, your maximum distance, medium distance, because you've got to be able to estimate where you are in that. The first thing, soon as you get ready, after you've done your winds, so I'm going to skip the winds right now. We'll go ahead and do it so we can do the full shot. But you're going to want to push your club all the way forward to figure out where your max is, and all the way back to figure out where your minimum is. You need to know where you're at in that range. I don't know why I'm having problems with connecting. Strange. Embarrassing. Oh, I bet because I'm running Notebook app at the exact same time as, yeah, see, some of you that all you have is an iPad, that's what you're going to have to do. I'm still going to run mine on my tablet. I think it's pulling too much. Yeah, that's exactly what it's doing. Oh, embarrassing. Well, I guess I'll end the video here. Having connection problems, but anyway, I hope that helps you in using the rings. And let me know how you do in the tournaments.